If life is too stressful, listen to these 18 enlightening ancient stories. If your life is becoming too stressful, listen to these 18 wonderful ancient stories to enlighten your mind. These stories not only inspire, but have also helped many people become successful entrepreneurs. You only need to spend 30 minutes listening, but remember that truly understanding and reflecting on them can take a lifetime. My advice is to listen whenever you have free time, or save the playlist so you can revisit it when needed. Now, let's get started. The first story, the true value of a person. There was a beggar named Tom. He lost an arm and looked very pitiful. Everyone who saw him pitied him and gave him alms. One day, Tom went to a farmer's house to beg. The owner, Anna, told him to first move a pile of bricks from the gate into the yard. Tom angrily replied, "Can't you see I only have one arm? Are you mocking me?" Anna calmly sat down and used one hand to move the bricks. After finishing, she turned around and said, "I can do it with one hand too. Why don't you try?" Tom was silent. Finally, he tried to use one hand to move the bricks. It took him 2 hours to finish the job, sweat pouring down his face. Anna gave Tom a white towel to wipe his face, and then gave him $200,000. Tom thanked her, but she said, "No need to thank me. This is your salary. You used your sweat to exchange for it." Tom said, "I will never forget your kindness. Please give me this scarf as a souvenir." A few years later, Tom returned in a luxurious suit. He met Anna, now old, and emotionally said, "I used to be a beggar, now I am the director of a company. Thanks to you, I have regained my dignity and rebuilt my life. If it weren't for you, I might still be wandering." Anna just smiled. "It was because you did it yourself." Tom wanted to give her a house, but she gently refused. "I just need to keep my self-respect and help others." From this story, we realize that the value of a person does not lie in material things, but in personality and soul. In life, there are many people who are more unfortunate than us. When we know how to appreciate what we have, we will easily overcome all difficulties and live positively. The most precious thing of a person is the heart and the mind. When we know how to awaken the good things in our hearts, we will create miracles. Physical defects are just small obstacles. Like Tom, a will to change turned him from a beggar to a director. When we consider our own misfortunes as small, we can easily overcome them. People with physical disabilities who still train themselves to have a great personality and a strong will can still rise up to become valuable people admired and respected by everyone. The second story, creative thinking leads to miraculous breakthroughs. The biggest difference between a successful person and an average one lies in their mindset. Successful people often think from multiple perspectives, and when faced with adversity, they know how to apply creative thinking. There was an entrepreneur named Jack, who was always worried about someone coming to steal his property whenever he left the house. He wanted to buy a dog for security but hesitated to spend money on dog food. After some time of pondering, he came up with a clever solution. Before leaving home, Jack would activate a free Wi-Fi hotspot. As a result, many people would gather in front of his house daily to use the Wi-Fi, providing him with safety without the worry of having to protect his home. Another story involves an old man named James. When he went to buy tomatoes, he found out that each kilogram cost $16,000. He chose 3 tomatoes and placed them on the scale. The seller looked at the scale and said, $10,000. Then, when he took the largest tomato off the scale, the seller quickly said, $8,000. Instead of getting upset, Mr. James calmly paid $2,000 and took the large tomato home. In fact, the tomato he took was heavier than the 2 on the scale. He understood that creative thinking could lead to unexpected solutions. There was also a newly opened fishing pond where the entrance fee was $200,000, but most people didn't catch any fish. The owner said that if they didn't catch anything, they would receive a chicken instead. Immediately, many people rushed to fish and all returned home with a chicken, happy and satisfied. It turned out that the owner was a professional chicken farmer. Charlie Munger, a famous investor, once shared that to find a good companion, you first need to become a capable and trustworthy person. A good friend is not someone foolish. Nelson Mandela, after being imprisoned for 27 years, endured much suffering. However, when he became president, he invited 3 of his former guards who had mistreated him to attend his inauguration. He said that if he did not let go of his resentment, he would never truly be free. This is an example of creative thinking. Forgiving others is not only good for them, but also for oneself. There was an old man who loved peace and quiet, but was often disturbed by noisy children. Instead of scolding them, he called them over and thanked them for bringing joy and gave each child 3 candies. Gradually, as he reduced the number of candies, the children naturally stopped coming, allowing him to regain his quiet space. The children, feeling frustrated and sulky, said they wouldn't bother coming to entertain him anymore. Thus, the old man achieved the quietude he desired. A salesperson told a customer about a book titled 500 Reasons Men Come Home Late, which made the customer laugh. The salesperson added that her husband had bought the same book, piquing the customer's interest and prompting her to buy it. In a buffet restaurant, customers wasted too much food. After imposing a fine of $10,000 for wasting food, the situation worsened. The manager then raised the price of the meals by $10,000 and announced that anyone who did not waste food would receive $10,000 back. As a result, the restaurant thrived like never before. Finally, a monk asked a novice monk what to do if moving forward would lead to death and stepping back would also lead to death. The novice monk replied, "I will look for a path beside it." Life is always unpredictable, and facing adversity or failure is normal. What matters is maintaining an optimistic and positive mindset, viewing problems from different angles. I hope you can adopt creative thinking to achieve success in life. Story 3. Anger is instinct. Controlling anger is courage. You may have encountered situations such as being unjustly slandered, almost colliding with a tricycle while driving, or having to repeat an answer to a child who doesn't understand. When encountering these situations, the first instinct of humans is often to get angry. However, if we only know how to indulge ourselves, argue with others, and let our emotions dominate, we not only cannot solve the problem, but can also create new troubles. Such a story happened one evening when a man named Charlie drove to the airport to pick up his brother. At an intersection, when the green light turned on, the tricycle in front still didn't move, while the car behind honked loudly. Charlie immediately felt angry, but his brother signaled him not to shout loudly at the driver behind. Then, Charlie's brother rolled down the car window and turned around, saying, "Sorry, there's a tricycle ahead. Let me see what's going on." He got out of the car and checked, only to find that the tricycle driver was on the phone and didn't pay attention to the green light. After the tricycle moved, Charlie said to his brother, "You're so kind, the driver clearly didn't see the tricycle ahead and blamed us." His brother replied, "What's the use of arguing with them? Arguing doesn't solve the problem. Being patient and controlling yourself is a sign of intelligence and courage. In fact, not everyone is born with this courage. It is the result of training and growing up. In the past, when he was young, On was also very hot-tempered and often disagreed with others. But over the years, working alone in other places, he has gone from being an ordinary employee to a senior manager. As a result, his abilities have become stronger, while his temperament has become more humble. It can be said that anger is one of the lowest human natures. When a person loses his calmness and gentleness, that is when he is falling behind others. The fourth story, keeping luck by controlling emotions. In life, you may encounter unpleasant people, unfavorable situations, or even unfair treatment and failures. All of these are normal states of life, so there's no need to get angry, complain, or compare everything. Ultimately, these actions only bring suffering. If you cannot control your emotions, then even if you gain the whole world, you will destroy everything in an instant. There was a boy named Max who, in a hurry to deliver food, missed the elevator. Unable to control his emotions, he began kicking the elevator in frustration. This action led to him being reported to the police for damaging public property. When questioned, Max explained that he was in a bad mood due to a family issue and that missing the elevator had caused him to act recklessly. After dealing with the police, the hotel staff accepted Max's apology, but he had to compensate for the damages, which amounted to half a month's salary. Just from one kick, he nearly faced detention, illustrating that the loss far outweighed any temporary gain. People often say that all troubles stem from impatience. If you cannot control your anger, you will cause suffering to others and to yourself. Learn to manage your emotions, don't worry when things don't go your way, and be patient. All of this is to maintain peace and blessings for yourself. As you mature and develop better emotional control, you will have more opportunities to achieve success in life. Many truths have proven that those who can manage their emotions often reap more happiness and good fortune than others. The fifth story, learning to control emotions and open up. In life, few are born with a calm temperament and never get angry. Those with strong hearts often improve their dispositions through experiences, which help them gain a clearer understanding of the realities of life and learn how to control their emotions. We often see that those with less ability tend to get angry more easily, while talented individuals are better at controlling their tempers. This doesn't mean they aren't hot-headed, rather, they have better self-control. In life, you cannot avoid encountering people who don't understand you. If you are successful, there will be those who envy you and scrutinize your flaws. Conversely, if you face difficulties, others may look down on you. That is the nature of humanity. If you continue to get angry about these things, you will face endless troubles. Consider the dialogue between the famous monk Charlie and the monk Dylan. Charlie asked Dylan, "What should one do when people slander, humiliate, or envy them?" Dylan replied, "Just endure, respect them, and ignore them. Wait and see them again in a few years. If you do not get angry, you will succeed in life. If you want to live well, what you strive for is not only the results, but also your mindset. A person with a good temperament will have a corresponding life. With a positive attitude, you can face life's difficulties with a calm heart. Those with a good attitude know how to add spice to life, making everyday mundane things more vibrant and interesting. Life is often not smooth, but when you encounter setbacks, remind yourself, it's okay, everything will pass. Live happily every day so that this life is not wasted. Time is limited, and I hope you can cultivate a good temperament and always encounter good fortune. The sixth story, don't diminish yourself with negative thoughts. Henry Frederick Amen once said that a person's worth lies not in what they possess or what they do, but in their inner nature. There is a story about a $100 bill. A speaker walked into a hall, took out a $100 bill, and asked, "Who wants this money?" Everyone raised their hands, expressing their desire to own it. The speaker then asked, "Who really wants this $100 bill?" Some people lowered their hands, but the majority still intended to claim it. The speaker then crumpled the bill, stepped on it, and asked, "Who still wants this $100 bill?" This time, Despite the bill being wrinkled and dirty, many still wanted to possess it. This illustrates that the true value of the bill had not changed at all. Through this story, the speaker wanted to convey that even when faced with difficulties, failures, or being stepped on by others, you are still yourself. Don't let negative thoughts diminish your self-worth. It's just that you may not yet know how to elevate that value. The story of Miley Cyrus is also a prime example. She became famous at a young age, serving as an ideal role model with her lead role in the show Hannah Montana. However, she later faced numerous scandals and criticism from many. Despite this, Miley remained true to herself, always striving to help the community through the Happy Hippie Foundation, which supports the homeless and the LGBTQ+ community. Miley ignored the gossip surrounding her and continued to live authentically, doing good for society. Though not perfect in the eyes of others, she knew how to protect and support those who faced injustice. The message I want to convey is to be true to your emotions. Don't worry about what others say. You only live once, and no one can please everyone. Live for yourself, and live for the things you believe in. The seventh story, the 3 apple sellers. There were 3 young men living in a town, searching for business opportunities together. They decided to travel to a distant land where there were large, sweet red apples. Each young man had his own approach to making money from these apples. The first young man, seeing the delicious apples, spent all his money to buy a large quantity. He transported the apples back home and sold them at a high price, quickly becoming wealthy. However, over time, his profits began to decline due to increased competition in the market and rising transportation costs, and he sometimes even faced losses. The second young man decided to invest half of his money in 100 of the best apple seedlings. He rented land on a hillside to grow the apples. Although he had his own orchard, the quality of his apples was not as good as the first young man's. Even though he did not have to bear transportation costs, his profits remained average. The third young man chose a different approach. He spent many days studying the apple orchard ecosystem and took some soil samples for analysis. After that, he rented a piece of wasteland and dedicated 3 years to improving and nurturing the soil before planting the apples. When the apples ripened, the quality of the apples he produced was the best, attracting many customers, and he always sold them at a high price. This story reflects that in life, those with foresight who are willing to invest effort for long-term development will achieve greater success. Those who only focus on short-term benefits may face difficulties in the future. Success is not just about making quick money, but also about the ability to build a sustainable and quality foundation. Different visions and approaches will yield different results, and ultimately, achievements will be determined by the investment in the future. The 8th story, don't let yourself die at 25 and be buried at 75. There is a famous saying, haste makes waste, but there's also a saying that speed is of the essence in warfare. This seems to reflect a contradiction in perspectives on speed and success. So what is truly important, speed or patience? In the 1970s, in California, there was a young man named Frank. Due to his poor circumstances, he had to drop out of school and go to Chicago to work. Lacking capital and connections, Frank started with a shoe-shining job. After 6 months, he saved enough money to open an ice cream shop while still maintaining his shoe-shining booth. His ice cream shop flourished, and later, Frank owned over 4,000 stores, capturing 70% of the ice cream market in the U.S. At the same time, there was another young man named Step, from a wealthy family, who was also studying in Chicago. He saw the ice cream business as a great opportunity, but his father opposed it. A year later, when Step's father finally acknowledged the opportunity, it was already too late. This story illustrates that speed plays a crucial role in determining success. Many people believe that making money requires careful preparation, but in reality, there is no fixed model for it. You need to learn while doing. If you don't dare to try, you will never know the wonderful opportunities that await you. The same applies to love. If you hesitate, you will miss your chance. Be courageous in expressing your feelings, even if you only have a brief moment to be happy. Beautiful things may only appear in fleeting moments, and if you hesitate, they will slip away. Life is always in motion and changing. Those who do not dare to act will not be able to control their circumstances. Remember, every small action is a step toward growth. Be ready, seize opportunities, and live fully so you won't regret what has passed. Story 9. Tolerance towards others, a path to retreat. One evening at a small fast food restaurant, there were 3 customers, an old man, a young man, and me. The atmosphere was dim due to the low light, and I sat alone in a corner by the window. The young man sat near the old man, holding a bowl of stir-fried noodles. Occasionally, I noticed him stealing glances at the old man's mobile phone resting on the table. Moments later, as the old man turned away to light a cigarette, the young man swiftly took the phone and stuffed it into his pocket. When the old man discovered what had happened, the young man stood up, ready to leave. However, the old man, seemingly understanding the situation, immediately walked towards the young man. I was worried about the old man, thinking he would struggle to confront a strong young man. But then something surprising happened. The old man gently said, "Son, please wait." The young man, startled, asked, "What is it?" The old man explained, "Yesterday was my daughter's birthday, and she gave me this phone. Although I don't really like it, it's a gift from her, and I appreciate her heart. I just left it on the table, and now it's gone. I'm having trouble looking for it because of my joint and vision problems. Could you help me find it?" Seeing this, the young man felt anxious but agreed to help. He bent down, searched around the table, and soon after found the phone. The old man was overjoyed, grasped the young man's hand, and thanked him. The young man heard the gratitude but felt his hands tremble and quickly left the restaurant. After the young man left, I approached the old man and asked, "Why didn't you call the police? You know the phone was stolen." His answer left me pondering for a long time. If I report to the police, I will lose something that is worth 1,000 times more than the phone. That is tolerance. This story reminds us that in life, sometimes tolerance and kindness are far more valuable than material losses. Instead of responding with anger, we can choose to empathize and forgive, creating a path for ourselves. This not only helps us maintain peace of mind, but also opens up opportunities for better relationships in the future. Story 10. Be a good person, follow through. My parents made a living from a small grocery store. My father divided the shop into 2 rooms, one for selling goods and the other for resting and cooking. Their work was quite stable, with regular customers being the neighbors around. During the summer break in 7th grade, I often helped my father watch the shop and was in charge of handling money to improve my math skills. One day, I arrived at the shop early and saw an old woman, weary from labor, carrying a small bag of rice and paying my father $10,000. I asked, "Is she buying such a small amount of rice?" My father explained, "She doesn't have much money. She's only buying 3 taels of rice." I was stunned to hear my father say that she only gave $5,000, yet he still gave her $10,000 in change. My father explained that the old woman was elderly, living alone, and suffering from memory loss. He felt she needed help, so he had kept the price of rice low for her over the past 2 years. I quietly listened and realized that my perception of my father had changed in my mind. The next day, when I went with my father to the shop, the old woman came again to buy rice. I took the initiative to give her the rice and return the change. She accepted the money, tucked it into her bag, and walked away slowly. My father pointed to the bag of rice and said, "At least it should be 2 kilograms. Be a good person, follow through." As time passed, every time the old woman came to the shop, I helped her like that. But then one day, she didn't come. I asked my father and found out she was sick and in the hospital. During that time, I also learned to sigh in the face of life's ups and downs. A few days later, my father received a letter from the representative of the old woman. In the letter was a property deed and a will. She wrote, "Thank you for helping me survive these last days. Without your care and kindness, I wouldn't have made it this far." I was deeply moved to hear that. My father shed tears while reading the letter. I hugged him tightly, realizing that good deeds not only bring happiness to others, but also to ourselves. We had done something good, and that was truly valuable. Story 11. Not understanding each other, not lacking love. Old people once said, "The wise person understands others." Understanding the difficulties of others and helping them at the right moment is a sign of great wisdom. In life, we often fall into the trap of loving others in our own familiar way. We may think that everything we do is for others, but in reality, they might not perceive it that way and may even find it off-putting. The root of this issue is not a lack of love, but a lack of understanding. A fable about love and understanding. Once upon a time, there was a couple of fishermen who lived together in love for a lifetime. The wife was kind-hearted and resourceful. Every day, she chose the best fish, cutting off the head and tail, leaving only the fillet for her husband. She cooked the fish with all her love, while she herself only ate the head and tail. Years went by, and one day the husband sighed and said, "In all my life, I've never asked you for anything, but now I want to know when you'll ever make me a fish head." Upon hearing this, the wife immediately burst into tears, lamenting, "I thought the fillet was the best part. Out of love for you, I saved that for you. I only dared to eat the leftovers." This story highlights the importance of understanding each other's needs and perspectives in a relationship. True love involves communication and ensuring that both partners feel valued and understood. The greatest misunderstanding in life is not a lack of love, but loving others in our own way. What we lack most in life, even more than love, is understanding. In the journey of life filled with challenges, how many people truly understand us? If we find even one person who does, that is a precious gift. Understanding is not just about emotions or memories, it is a natural way of being. It does not depend on circumstances or status, nor is it related to sunny or rainy days. Because of understanding, we choose to love in a way that others can easily accept, and we interact with wisdom, protecting those we care for in the most appropriate way. Story 12. If you don't want to keep your secrets, you should respect others' secrets. In life, not wanting to keep your own secrets means you need to respect others' secrets as well. Some people, when treated well, easily reveal all the secrets they know. Others, feeling unstable after being treated kindly, can't keep their feelings to themselves and want to share everything, especially after a good meal and drinks. They often exclaim, "We've been friends for many years. Today there's no need to hide anything. Let me tell you everything." Yet, they also insist to the listener, "You must not tell anyone else." This paradox highlights a fundamental truth. If we seek understanding and empathy from others, we must also practice the same in return. Trust is a fragile thing. Once broken, it can be hard to rebuild. Respecting others' confidences creates an environment where mutual understanding and trust can thrive. Thus, if we want others to respect our secrets, we must also honor theirs. Proverb: Once a secret is revealed, it spreads everywhere. The consequences of not keeping a secret can be severe, leading to disappointment for those who have trusted you. Therefore, we must learn to be discreet when faced with someone else's secrets. There was a man who applied for a job at a company. Among many candidates, he navigated the interview process quite smoothly, but one final question left him perplexed. Please write down as many secrets from your previous company as possible. Looking around, he saw others diligently writing. After a moment of thought, he decided to submit his answer to the interviewer and said, "I'm sorry, I cannot answer this question. Even though it's my previous company, I still have a duty to keep its secrets." He then left the interview room. The next day, he received a letter informing him that he had been hired. The letter stated, "We are pleased with your professional ethics. A person who knows how to keep the secrets of others is exactly who we need." This story emphasizes the value of integrity and the importance of respecting confidentiality. In a world where information is easily shared, those who can maintain trust and discretion are invaluable. This shows that respecting others' secrets earns you respect in return. If you can keep someone else's confidences, you will be valued and trusted. Additionally, it's important to note that not everything needs to be shared, even if it's not a secret. Some matters are still private between two people. Keeping those things confidential is also crucial. Ultimately, fostering an environment of trust and respect hinges on our ability to honor the boundaries of others. By doing so, we create deeper connections and a more supportive community. Story 13, Always Hungry, Always Foolish. Once upon a time, in a forest, there were two people, one named Hunger, who always lived in a state of hunger, and the other named Perfection, who constantly pursued perfection. Every morning, Hunger would wake up feeling hungry and decide to take his axe to hunt. Seeing this, Perfection mocked him, saying, "It's foolish to go hunting without knowing where the prey is. If the prey is to the east and you go to the west, isn't that a waste of effort? You need to plan carefully before taking action." Desiring a perfect hunt, Perfection spent the entire day making plans. In the end, Hunger returned home with a few small fruits, while Perfection was still sitting there, lost in his own thoughts. Day after day, Hunger continued to hunt and, lucky one day, caught a large prey. He intended to bring it back to share with Perfection. However, upon returning, Hunger discovered that Perfection had died of starvation. Even at the end of his life, Perfection had never completed his plans. The lesson from this story is that in this world, there is no perfect plan, only perfect action. If we keep hesitating, like Perfection, in pursuit of everything being flawless, we will miss out on important opportunities in life. In reality, when it comes to love, young people often try various ways to express their feelings. Even if they don't succeed, at least they have made an effort. In terms of career, procrastinating for unnecessary reasons can lead to missed opportunities. Perfectionism, like that of Perfection, keeps us in a state of inaction, while a hunger for achievement drives us to take action. Successful people often possess a fierce desire and are unafraid of facing failure. In contrast, mediocre individuals have long extinguished their inner drive, merely waiting in place. Story 14, A Professor in Pursuit of Perfection in Marriage. There was a university professor named Michael Ticker, who was always in pursuit of perfection in love and marriage. He worried that if he married the wrong woman, he would miss the chance to meet someone better. To address this concern, he researched and calculated the probability of finding the perfect love. Michael discovered that the probability of a person finding their ideal partner is about 37%. Assuming he would meet a certain number of women each year, he calculated that to optimize his chances, he should propose to the woman he loves exactly on her 26th birthday. He decided that before that time, No matter how good a woman he met, he would not allow himself to fall in love. Finally, the day Michael had been waiting for arrived. He rushed out of the house, feeling anxious and determined to propose to the girl he had chosen. Amid the bustling crowd, he spotted her and hurried over, excitedly declaring his proposal. But the girl's reaction was completely unexpected. "Help me. There's a creep here." Michael was stunned. His plan had backfired. He hadn't realized that while the odds might be in his favor, no one would accept a proposal right away from someone they had just met. The story illustrates that the pursuit of perfection can lead to unforeseen consequences. Michael missed the chance to find love because he was too focused on his plans and calculations, failing to understand that true love cannot be based solely on probabilities or theories. Sometimes, what matters most is the ability to open one's heart and embrace the imperfections of life. Story 15. Reflecting on oneself. Life must look forward, as the future brings hope. However, we also need to reflect on ourselves, for only by daring to face the past can we see the open road ahead. The author Saussure once wrote, "Who says a person's life cannot rejuvenate as water flows westward?" This reminds us that while living, we cannot only focus on the future and forget our origins. In the movie Floating and Sinking, Kyo is a businesswoman at a foreign company who soon realizes that her success is not just due to her personal efforts, but also her relationships. When the marketing director, Steve, asks her to write a misleading report, Kyo suddenly remembers her original aspiration, to bring happiness to others through her work. She resolutely refuses that request, maintaining her dignity and commitment. This story emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and upholding one's values, even in challenging situations. By confronting our past and staying true to our principles, we can pave a brighter future. The story continues with the character Ella, an actress who abandoned a promising career to return to her passion for acting. Through this choice, she developed herself and achieved success by the age of 30. Ella understands that success does not stem from glamour, but from steady efforts and persistent pursuit of dreams. The narrative also introduces us to an experience of Isaac. When he visited an elderly scholar, he felt proud of his achievements. However, upon learning that the scholar was a retired official, he realized that self-satisfaction can lead to embarrassment. He learned a valuable lesson. Only by understanding ourselves can we recognize the right direction and avoid chasing unattainable goals. Ultimately, the story emphasizes the necessity of reflecting on the past. Only with the courage to look back can we embrace a brighter future. Don't wait until you can no longer turn back to lament having forgotten your original dreams. Always remember that the journey of life is a combination of looking forward and reflecting on oneself to adjust our path appropriately. The 16th story, A Life Filled with Tears. One morning, I happened to see a boy named Jack standing in front of a restaurant, holding a can and hoping to collect leftover food. Each time a customer settled their bill, Jack would rush inside, carefully watching the bowls of rice, ready to scoop any excess food into his can and run back outside. I often visited the restaurant with just enough money for a cup of coffee, but after observing the boy for over a year, I gradually learned about Jack's circumstances. One day, it rained heavily, and Jack huddled in the restaurant. When I asked him about his life, he shared that he lived with his parents. His father worked far away, while his mother sold goods at the market. Jack didn't attend school. Instead, he stayed home to help his mother raise pigs. Seeing Jack's difficult situation, I spoke to the restaurant owner about helping him, and from that day on, Jack started working at the restaurant, assisting with cleanup and receiving leftover food. As time passed, Jack and I grew close. He was gentle and sincere, but always seemed hesitant when I asked about his family. One day, I decided to follow him home to understand better. When I noticed Jack avoiding my questions, I realized he was hiding something. When I arrived at Jack's small hut, I was shocked to find it was the home of a family with a father who was a double amputee and a mother suffering from a serious illness. I couldn't hold back my tears upon seeing their tragic situation. Jack was the primary breadwinner, having to care for his parents from a very young age. After leaving Jack's home, I couldn't stop thinking about his family. Each time I met Jack, he avoided my gaze, as if he knew I had discovered the truth. Jack took care of his parents with all his strength, but things became increasingly difficult when his mother passed away from illness. He began working as a construction laborer to support his father. When I returned to visit, I saw that Jack had grown strong and handsome, filling me with both joy and sorrow. The cafe owner, where Jack used to work, also tried to help him. When I returned to Australia, I felt heavy-hearted because I could no longer assist Jack and his father. However, I didn't forget them and occasionally sent money back to the family. 5 years later, when I came back to visit my family, I looked for Jack, but learned he was no longer at that cafe. I was informed that Jack had found stable employment, but life was still filled with challenges. Finally, I decided to send money to help Jack's family and wrote a letter to a charity organization. When I received a response from Jack's father, I cannot express the joy he felt. He thanked me, saying that finally someone remembered their lives, bringing a glimmer of light to their dark existence. Jack's story is a testament to resilience, filial piety, and the strength of human kindness in tragic circumstances. Despite life's many challenges, love and compassion always find a way through. Story 17. Close the door behind you to move forward. In life, there are things we cannot change, and the past is one of them. Remember that everyone around you is just a passerby in your life, and it's important not to let the past hinder your future. Mr. John Major has a habit of closing the door when he leaves a room. One day, while taking a walk with a friend, he was asked about this habit. He explained that closing the door is not just a simple action, but carries a deep meaning. It's a way for him to leave everything that has happened behind, whether it's success or failure. This reminds us that to move forward, we need to learn to let go of the past. There is a story about a blacksmith who owned a valuable vase, but did not realize its worth. When he became aware of its value, he felt anxious and uneasy. However, when the vase broke, he felt relieved, realizing that happiness does not come from owning many things, but from knowing how to let go of what is unnecessary. Life is like a basket filled with stones, initially empty, but it becomes heavier as we collect more items. Wise people know how to clear away the unnecessary, leaving behind unimportant memories and avoiding unpleasant social interactions. If you want to succeed and be happy, close the door behind you and don't let the past hold you back. Face new challenges and look ahead with hope. Don't let the burdens of the past weigh you down. Each new day is an opportunity to start again. Be bold in looking forward and believe that good things are waiting for you. Close the door behind you, leave the past behind, and open a new chapter in your life. Story 18. Whose Tears? Life is a challenging journey where only you truly understand your own pain and fatigue. No one can cry for you, and no one can go through those sufferings in your place. Life is not easy. The bitterness, hardships, joys, and sorrows are all inseparable parts of it. So why do we often live to please others? Live for yourself and turn difficulties into sources of inspiration. If your life revolves around money, you will only see hardship. If love is at the center, you will experience sorrow. If you seek fame, life will become burdensome. But if you make tolerance and gratitude your focus, you will find happiness. When you lie on a hospital bed, everyone around you will feel fear, for at that moment, you have nothing but your own health. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Only you can cherish and protect yourself. Advice from others cannot replace your own actions. When faced with difficulties, don't just wait for help from others, seek out solutions on your own. Life is not perfect, and that is normal. What you are waiting for may be something that will never come if you do not take action. Don't let time pass by in waiting. Every moment is precious, and you can never get back what is lost. Parents often wait for their children to grow up to feel secure, but sometimes, by the end of their lives, they still have not lived fully. Don't let those valuable times slip away without appreciating them. Live life to the fullest and leave no regrets. Every second, every minute is important. Don't wait to love, to live fully, because time waits for no one. Cherishing each moment, living positively, and seizing opportunities will help you find happiness in life. Remember, only you can make your life better.